Hey guys, thanks for joining us. We're here today with a superstar, Gracey Moffitt. She's our McCracken County Ag Extension Agent, and we are super glad to have her with us.
All right, thank you, Kevin. So like he said, my name's Gracey Moffitt, and I am the Ag and Natural Resources Extension Agent for McCracken County. It's a mouthful, but it means a lot of different things. I get to deal with farmers, your row croppers, your cattle farmers, anybody that really has an interest in agriculture on all assets of life. Whether you have property, you want property, you like to hunt, you like to fish, you like to have a flower bed or raise your vegetable garden, that kind of fits in my realm of things. We're funded and an extension of education from UK, and they provide all the tools and education for us to bring out to our individual counties. There's an extension office in all 120 counties across the state. I get to work with a lot of different people on large scale, small scale, for residential and commercial. A lot of what I end up doing during the day is advising different people on what they can do with their property and the different steps to take to get them to profitability at the end of the day for what they want. A lot of times, whether that starts with soil testing, that's usually ground one to know, okay, where are you going to go from here?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Chance and I deal with this a lot, from the aspects of perk testing to soil testing. It doesn't matter what it is. Somebody buys a farm, they're going to build on it. They want to know 100%. where they're going to be okay at. Chance, even you, on your farm, you said you had some things that you did down there. Was that out of the extension office, or was that?
Yeah, we actually dealt with them, and we'd contacted, probably before you were working down there, but we'd contacted them about how to go about each scenario. And actually, they just told us to put them in Ziploc bags for soil tests and bring them down there and kind of keep up with where you pulled them. That way they could keep track of where it is on your land.
Yeah, because that'll help you too. If you can, a lot of times we'll try to design or plan a map of wherever you're going to start pulling, and you can name that plot whatever you want it, whether it's a number or backfield or Papa's house, whatever you want to call it, as long as you know where that is and keep it separate. So then most of the time your samples are going to show something completely different. So then you can prescribe and treat whatever that is for that specific spot, because not every piece of land is created equal, so you got to treat it in that way.
Right. That's what's crazy to me. You say that. In one field of mine, an 8-acre field, it was amazing the 3 different, what they called for in different spots of that one field. Yeah,
and that's a lot of times why it's so important to know how to soil sample correctly, whether it's the depth you're measuring to take the actual sample, because the deeper you go, the more nutrients it's going to say you need. So that's more money you got to pull out of your pocket, and it's not going to always help you at the end of the day. Even down to where you're sampling. If you only pick the worst spots of your field or the worst spots of your yard, it's only going to show you the worst. It's not the big picture. You want a good randomized mixed sample of what you have. A lot of times we recommend a zigzag pattern. So start your block off and pick kind of across, be randomized. So then there's no bias or favoritism to whatever data you could come up with, and you get a much better accurate result for the overall plot.
Can you give us an example of a program that y'all have in place right now that would be something that somebody could maybe relate to? If they had 20 acres, 30 acres, and it was a hunting farm, or they had cattle on it. Yeah,
100%. A lot of times, of course, like we said a while ago, you want to start off with your soil sampling, because that, if you have a frame of mind of what you're wanting on that particular piece of land, whether it's going to be a food plot, for any type of wildlife that you're wanting to look at. If you're wanting to look at even planting trees, if you're wanting to put more trees out in your field or your woods to make sure you have more of a habitat, you got to start somewhere. So if you don't know the DNA of what you're dealing with, you're not going to be able to support that at the end of the day.
Right.
Whether that's your crop or your animals or whatever, because they pull those nutrients out of the ground just as much as we need it. So starting off, pick where you're wanting to look at, have an idea kind of what you're wanting to do, what kind of crop or plant that you're wanting to plant, and then we can soil sample it, address it. We can sit down and build you a plan of, okay, this is going to be the best option for me. I can't necessarily grow cotton here because we live in Western Kentucky. So these are the crops that are more suited for our environment. Sure. You're going to have better success with this over this crop. A lot of it's going to be one-on-one conversation, which is great because then I get to figure out what's going to be their priorities and how timeline and what do they have available to them, equipment,
Sure.
or even financial, because a lot of times there's inputs you can weigh as to, okay, do I need to spend more money on fertilizer and getting my nutrients levels up to where I need them?
Sure.
Or do I need to work on my lime? Is my pH really bad? Because if that's bad, we're not getting very far at all.
Right.
So then if you look at base level, where to start, we can build you a program for what you want and try to make it as successful as possible.
So do you guys, if somebody comes in, you've got somebody that's just bought a farm or whatever it may be, and they want to do soil samples,
Right.
they contact you guys. Is that something they do themselves, or will you guys actually come out and take care of it for them? And
We
then
can do a mix of both. So we have a lot of soil probes at the office that anybody can come and pick up at any point in time to use. We have a lot of that so people can come and rent those for ease of use and to make sure they get the accurate sample depth and the perfect amount of cores. And we can have that conversation of, would you feel more comfortable with me coming out there and showing you this is kind of the pattern we need to take to keep things separate, to keep things in order for what you're wanting to get out of it. Or if you feel comfortable, you can take the probe and do it yourself. All of our soil data that the lab works on, whether it's our Lexington lab or the Princeton lab they're fixing back up since the tornado, all of that data is used and calculated based on research over the last however many years Extension in UK has been around. So it's not for UK's profit, it's for the landowner's profit, the farmer's profit, not to get you to buy a little bit more product at the end of the day.
Right.
Which is a good thing that I like to have on my shoulder to be able to help in that instance. But being able to sit down and say, hey, do you feel more comfortable with me coming with you? I'd be more than happy to come out and help.
And there's so many times that our knowledge, we look at all these different farms and our knowledge only carries us so far. It's just like looking at a roof on the house. You can only tell so much from the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And so when you start looking into it deeper, there is a big importance of getting connected with the right people to kind of get you off on the right foot on what you're going to do with it.
Yeah.
And that is so important, what you were saying. So
as the years go on, we see more things coming to the area with the weather. So like this last summer, because of our climate, how things have progressed, it's been hotter or drier or wetter than normal.
True.
So to say. So that brings a lot of other things into play. So now we're in a subtropical climate, bringing and introducing new diseases to crops and pests, whether it's us as people, our livestock, our pets, anything. We're supposed to be getting more ticks into the state as they migrate across. We're on a watch list right now for what is called the spotted lanternfly, and it can knock out all of your nurseries and orchards and vineyards across the state if it's not under wraps. Thankfully, we have a good radar on that, and it's only in, I believe, 2 or 3 counties right now. But we're at least getting prepared and talking to the other states who have dealt with it to know kind of what's going on.
Asian beetles and the stink bugs wasn't enough for you. Let's throw another one.
Let's throw one more on.
Put another one in the mix.
Army worms.
Oh, yeah.
That too.
They got my yard.
I had more calls, I think, about that. Why is my yard moving? Or why does it look like it's moving? And why is it dead in patches? Just random patches out of nowhere.
Oh, it was a panic.
It was.
I panicked.
It really was.
It was a panic.
It wasn't you did. They got a bunch of your pasture.
Yeah, this pasture right outside the door here.
Yeah.
It really got a hold of it and started across the ditch over there and got on the other side a little bit. But this one here, they pretty much took it over just like that.
Yeah, and that is the cool thing that I really enjoy about my job in particular is when stuff like that happens, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
So if you see something, you're like, I don't know what this bug is. I don't know what's happening to my yard, to my pasture, to my trees. Send me pictures.
Yeah.
Call the office. If you have a sample, bring it in. We can either send it off to the lab to get it approved. I can normally be 911 call to the specialist on campus in Lexington at any point in the day to figure out and get you on the right track to knowing what it is and how to treat it.
Yeah. Something else that I found during the armyworm epidemic, wasn't there a study that was coming out that said a little bit prior to that? Yeah. And it was in the newsletter maybe?
Yeah. We had just talked about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't get the newsletter naturally, but I do now.
Good
So,
deal.
and my point for saying that is get the newsletter.
Yeah.
Be looking at those things, because there is information in there like that will, at least when you see something, okay, this makes sense with what was in the newsletter, or, you know, and I know you're not going to be able to catch everything, but
Right.
it is good to know. How does somebody subscribe to the newsletter?
So all you have to do, there should be 2 routes of being able to do it. You can either call or come up to the office and request to be signed up for my particular newsletter, for the Ag and Natural Resources one. We also have a horticulture and a family and consumer science newsletter for the different program areas in our office. We also have our website that you can go to, and that will always have our event calendar, the list of programs for every program area. So all the programs that I'll either be a part of or hosting, that's going to be listed under the Agriculture and Natural Resources page, and my newsletter for every month.